That's us.
That's us.
HUI with HOKA. Episode 23, 17th of August 2024. Beautiful Saturday here in Kirikiriroa. With myself, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, the media wizard behind the camera, Mr. Timothy Stevens from Adapt Media. Morena, my friend. And of course, today we have another epic guest, Michael, the Machine Isaac. 26 years young, current welterweight champion, king in the ring from Ōpōtiki, New Zealand, Aotearoa. Welcome. I'm just going to give a quick overview of the topics, which is of course related to this beautiful belt over here, the belch, as they say in Brazil. The 10-year training camp, fight camp, to get to this point. And life after claiming after such a prestige title. Talk a bit about validation, internally, externally, energy, and some other little bits and bobs. But I'm gonna give the rako to you. Who are you for the people who maybe don't know?
So, Michael the Machine Isaac, current 68 kg King of the Ring champion, all the way from Ōpōtiki in the Eastern Bay of Plenty. Ōpōtiki, Whakatane sort of area. Yeah, born and raised. But I'm just a guy. The guy that fights. Yep, pretty quiet guy, but yeah.
Yeah, but we're going to change that today, bring a few bits out of UA. That's what. For sure. No, we good. Michael, first question is, of course, your name, that's your identity. We talked about this off camera. That's a huge part. Let's say someone walks into the room, joins this conversation, and has never heard of the word machine. Doesn't speak any English. There's no translation into his or her native tongue. How would you explain what that nickname actually means to that person?
I think a machine, you'd just say something that doesn't stop, something that keeps moving forward or keeps, carrying on. It's continuous, I guess you would say. That's probably the best thing I could say, just a continuous force forward.
And that relates to you, of course, as a person.
Yeah. So I actually got my fight name after my first New Zealand title. My coach, Ethan Shepp, long-time coach for, maybe 6 years?
Must be 6 years now.
7 years.
20 years when you changed over, you're 26 now, must be 6 years, give or take.
Yeah, 6, 7. I fought for a New Zealand title. It's pretty hard to find a name that goes with Michael Isaac. What are you going to say? Magic Michael or something like that. Nothing really goes with Michael. But all of a sudden he puts this Facebook post up, a photo of me and him with this belt. And he goes, congratulations to New Zealand champion Michael, the Machine Isaac. And then he comments, who's a machine? And he's like, nah, who's the machine? And then after that, it just stuck. It made sense. Yeah, because obviously when I first joined the gym, I had a few things going on, like sort of just trying to fit in. And then once I found my stride, I was quite very much fitting to that name, I guess. I trained hard. I worked hard, and it just sort of all aligned. Yeah.
I mean, every single person that trains out of core MMA in Hamilton, New Zealand / House of Pain knows and has said the same thing, like your work rate and your devotion and your determination for not just a fight or not just a session in a continuous aspect is just undoubtable, unquestionable. It is, to say the least, contagious. But we're gonna get to that point at some stage because, like I said, I spoke to a few of your teammates. Just so it will make sense in a second. However, you mentioned that you're far away from home here.
Yeah.
We're talking coast to coast. So Ōpōtiki is Bay of Plenty, which is close to Whakatane, which is on the East Coast.
Yep, East Coast.
And Hamilton is close to the West Coast. Ōpōtiki is the 315, is that correct?
Yeah,
it's the district area code.
Yep.
And I was like, when I prepared for this, I was like, man, I want to know a few things about that particular area, because that must have something to do with who you are as a person today, sitting here, and being the machine, being so relentless. So of course, I pulled some strings and I reached out to someone who's been living there pretty much their whole life. Tim's like, who is that?
Yeah.
No, shout out to Jesse King actually, who was just on the show Relentless and is making some big noise in the mixed martial arts amateur world in New Zealand. And we just clicked at some stage and became friends. So I was like, I asked him because he's pretty much not born and bred, so to say, but he moved there and spent a good portion of his time. And I was like, man, what is it about this place that creates great fighters? Or like even there's another sports person, like it's just because it's like shy to 10,000 people, it's a very small coastal town. And he took a moment, he sent me a voicemail and he was like, man, it's physicality. It's a rural area, so to say, there's a lot of farmland, but everything is just so physical. And he made a transition playing rugby from the King Country to go there, to play on a decent level. And he was like, man, I thought, and you know him, you've seen him, everyone who's ever caught a glimpse of him knows he's just like, he's very physical, he's strong, he's like, he's got a build. And he was like, man, I was so surprised with the level of physicality they played over there. And I was tackling people and I was like, not bouncing off them, but I was like, man, this is different. Something is different about this area. He talked about all of that. And I was like, coincidence, you think? What do you make out of this?
I don't think it's potentially. I don't know. I mean, my family doesn't originate from Ōpōtiki, my mum's from England, my dad's from England, so they moved over and then found their way to live in a lifestyle block in Ōpōtiki. But I think the biggest thing that breeds great athletes out of Ōpōtiki is it's just quite a hard town, and there's really only, I'll be realistic, there's probably only really two ways you can go, is down the bad route, or you can try make something of yourself a little bit. And I think the ones that kind of make something of themselves, they really shine in whatever it is they do, because there's quite a lot of hunger behind them as to where they're from, or maybe they've got a point to prove, they've got a chip on their shoulder or something like that. But I think that's it. There's really one or two ways you can go down there. But growing up, I did notice there's a lot of talent. Like I would see, I'd be driving down the street with my mum, and my mum used to ride horses. She used to compete and stuff like that in equestrian. And we'd see these little Māori boys, like 3-4 years old, riding big horses down the street on the footpath with no saddles or anything, not like a bridle or whatever you call it, the reins. They'd just be riding this horse holding onto the hair, naked, fucking, Māori kids going to the river. And their balance was just perfect. And my mum would just sit there and go, look at these kids, like their balance is just immaculate. And they're just little babies riding these horses like by themselves. There's no like adult with them. They're just riding these horses down the street. So, and even like athletics, like going to school, a lot of the kids that would shine in like the sprints and the long jump, high jump, whatever you want to call it, were the Māori kids. Not the Pākehā kids, it was the Māori kids. But what would happen is they'd sort of fall off or fall down the wrong track, or some maybe parents influence bad things, and sort of the wider kids would take over just from consistency. But I think there's a lot of talent down there, and I think that's really it. There's only one or two roads you can go down, sort of the classic bad route, or you make something of yourself. Even though with the origin story as such, it's still with your parents migrating there, it rubs off on you, because you're a very observant person, from knowing you over the years, like you make sure you scan the room, you take every single little detail into consideration for your own better good, and seeing all those like different aspects, the Māori boys playing, their balance and this and that, being a bit more free range, I guess. But it makes a lot of sense, eh? And then you probably decided, I want to be moving like a machine, relentless, in the right direction and in the wrong direction. I don't know. This is how I would read between the lines here, perhaps. Yeah, for sure.
Do you agree?
Yeah, well, I had two different friend groups. I had the friends that were kind of like on the right path, and I had friends that were kind of like, they were on the right path, but they were you know, they were on the fence, and you know, I saw them sort of drift off and do whatever it is that they did, and I sort of just thought, you know, I don't want to be 50 years old still in Ōpōtiki doing the same stuff that I was doing when I was 10 years old or whatever, you know, like, yeah, so I kind of thought I had to make a change. Yeah, but it's funny, being away from home, every time I go back, it actually made me appreciate it more, because growing up, you sort of thought, man, I can't wait to leave this tiny-ass town, you know, I can't wait to get out of here, you know, this place sucks. It would be a real negative way to look at it, and there's still a lot of people that look at it in a negative light, but being away, I look at it in a much more positive light, and I try to, you know, like, you know, I don't do much for the community, but I try to sort of embrace that. I try to sort of support that a little bit more. Yeah.
There's definitely something about smaller towns, I think, that is really valuable, especially more than ever. And it's such a connected, fast-paced world. It's a little bit less connected, but more connected with the people.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like riding the horses down the street, you know, like
I would love to do that now.
grab your bike, go for a ride, go for a walk to the beach. In Hamilton, you catch a bus, you catch an Uber, you take a scooter, you get mum to drive you. You don't just walk with your friends to the city.
Yeah, there's no balance that you need sitting in an Uber.
100%.
On the bus. Holding onto the rail.
Nah, it does make a lot of sense, hey. And of course, I guess when you grow older, you have more appreciation of where you come from, and you see things a little differently. And now you enjoy just going back, you know, hanging out with the people, with your fam, go and get pie or whatever, you know, just being normal. Grounds you. But yeah, like I was saying, it shot you into a different direction, like a machine, relentless, you know, like working towards something, and then you actually migrated to Aotearoa, to Hamilton, to, you know, like go further, take this even further, you know, to be more serious about your fighting career, so to say. And this is how, of course, the House of Pain, Fano and Ethan Shepp come into the picture. Do you want to give some context on House of Pain? Maybe what is House of Pain and what does it mean to you, and who is Ethan Shepp and what he means to you as well?
So context into House of Pain would be, I think House of Pain originally was a very small group of elite level fighters that did real well regionally, internationally. Very closed operation gym. Originally, House of Pain was a very, like, you got in unless you knew someone, you knew Ethan Shepp, or you knew someone who was training there, and they'd have to vouch for you to come in. So originally when I came in, no one knew who I was. I was just some guy, and Ethan actually said to me, consider, like, this is the first conversation I ever had with Ethan. He said, consider yourself very lucky because no one knows you here, and you're the first person to come here that no one knows. And I was kind of like, I was terrified of Ethan when I first came.
I still am today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, me too, bro. Oh.
He's the Iceman for a reason. I mean, unless you lived under a rock in the martial arts world in Australasia, or even further, you know, that radiates even further. You know, the Iceman is like, if he shakes your hand and looks into your eyes and has a conversation with you, you know, it's a very he's a figure, he's a character, you know, he's definitely someone that you respect, but not just for the way he's communicating, just for his life accomplishments. You know, he raised, so to say, all these like different fighters, not just into fighters, into like men, you know, like paved the way for them and like molded them to become parents, fathers, partners themselves, you know, like equipped them with a lot of mana.
For sure.
Anyhow, back to you.
Yeah, it's actually quite a funny story how I came into the gym as well, because he was running a show, and there was like a double world title show or something like that in Hamilton, and I was working as a shop assistant at a military surplus store, and I heard on the radio that the show was on, so I'd moved up to Hamilton wanting to get into this gym, House of Pain, but I had no idea how I was gonna, you know, because I didn't know anyone. So I heard on the radio, Nisa Fury, double world title fight night, you know, run by Ethan Shepp. Obviously, I knew Ethan Shepp was the coach at House of Pain. And I was sitting there, I was like, I really want to go to that. But I was pretty low on money. I just moved up. I had a really crappy paying minimum wage job. I was young too. I'd spend my money on stupid shit. But I was sitting there like, man, I really want to go to this, but I can't afford it. Or I can afford it, but I just wouldn't be able to, buy a pie tomorrow and, spend money on stupid shit. But I was like, nah, I won't go, I can't be bothered. And I remember walking home and I just I felt this real strong inkling. I don't know what, I felt this feeling probably about twice in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But something told me I had to go. I just had to go. I'm not don't get me wrong, I'm not a yogi, I'm not the universe, is this, that, and the other. But something this is twice in my life this has happened, where it's been such a strong feeling that I have to go to this. And I was sitting there, I was like, I'm going to go. And, I was walking to the YMCA from my house, bought the ticket, sat in the bleachers. And I remember as I was walking, I was thinking, why do I want to go to this? And I was like, I just want to see. I just want to watch. I just want to watch these guys. And I was sitting there in the bleachers, watching these fights. And a coach, I didn't train under this guy, but a coach from Whakatane, he sort of knew me through the local fight scene. Mm-hmm. He came up to me and was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, I live here now. He's like, oh, did you move up here? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, well, are you training? Are you still training? And I was like, oh, I moved up here. I want to join House of Pain, but I don't actually know how to, I don't know anyone in. And he was like, oh, I know Ethan, I could talk to him if you want. And I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be cool. And he walks off, and I sat there, I was like, wow, yeah, I've got my in, great, sweet. He came back, he's like, nah, it's a closed operation, you can't, he doesn't want you. And I was just like, oh nah, all good, thanks for that. And he's like, sweet as. He walks off with his beer, he's just sitting there drinking. And then I'm sitting there watching the fights, blah, 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 blah. The main event is about to come on. The main event was Carlos Hicks, long-time training partner. Anyway, so this guy comes back to me and he goes, Ethan just walked up to me. He said, here's his phone number. Give him a ring tomorrow. Wow. I just sat there. I was like, whoa.
There was the emotions from
I was just like, holy shit.
You were like, there's a chance.
But I was nervous. I had to call this guy. I had to make the call. I could ring him now, but he said, here's his phone number. He's like, it's a very closed operation. He's not happy about taking somebody he doesn't know. Yeah, but I vouched for you. Yeah, and I was like, oh, thank you so much, So he walked off. I watched the main event. Blah, blah, blah. I left. Anyway, so follow through to Sunday. The next day, I'm sitting there with this number. And I'm like, man, do I call it? Because now, the decision's on me. I can't just walk through the door. Now I've got to make the call and actually take that first step, so to speak. And I was like, shit, do I really want to do it? All the questions were in my head now. I was like, the opportunity's there.
How long did you sit there with the phone number on your phone?
Probably about an hour. I put it down. I was like, I'll make a coffee first.
All these excuses.
Have my breakfast. And I was just sitting there. I was like, what have I got to lose?
Nothing.
And then also my mum knew I wanted to go to House of Pain. My mum actually moved me up to Hamilton. So my mum found my job for me. Mm-hmm. My mum found my flat for me. My mum did everything for me to get me up to Hamilton because she knew what it all meant for me. So yeah, my mum was like, have you called Ethan? She messaged me, have you called Ethan yet? And I was like, fuck, I've got to do it. So I called up Ethan. I was like, hey bro, I'm that guy, such and such, asked for your number and gave it to me. And he's like, hey mate, he's real blunt, especially with somebody he doesn't know. Hey mate, so how many fights you had? And I was like, I'd had 5 fights at the time. I was like, I've had 5 fights. He's like, okay, yep, all right mate, I'm not very happy about taking someone I don't know, especially because, first of all, this gym's at my house.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, but look, if you turn up tomorrow at 6 p.m, this is the address. Yeah, and then hopefully we'll have a chat. And I was like, okay, sweet. So that was on the Sunday. The Monday rolls around, and I'm sitting there like, I'm excited but nervous. Anyway, work finishes. I knew I was going to be late because I finished work at 6 o'clock. The bus left at 6:15, so I bussed out there.
Did you tell him?
No. I didn't know.
You should have.
I should have told it, but I was young, man. I was so young. Anyway, I catch this bus.
I'm biting my nails.
Anyway, I leave work. the ultimate nutrition I have before this, because like this hard training that I think I'm rolling into, the best nutrition I have a fucking Moro bar and a V. I buy a Moro bar and a V from the dairy.
Yeah.
And I chug this V and I eat this Moro bar. I'm like, sweet, I'm jacked up to go train. I'm gonna go train with these guys. I get on the bus. I miss the stop.
Oh.
I missed the stop. My mum's texting me at the same time because, I don't know anyone up in Hamilton. My mum's texting me, making sure I'm, like, getting off the bus at the right time. Texting my mum, she's like, did you jump off at Highbrook Way or whatever it was?
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And this bus was going to Raglan.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, no, I've passed it. And I checked the map. I was like, shit, I've passed it. And then I jumped off the bus frantically. And I rang my mum. I was like, oh, I've missed the stop. What do I do? She's like, just turn up there. Just turn up. Just like, no, even if you're late, just turn up. I was like, okay, so I hitchhike.
Oh my God.
I hitchhike. And these two very classic Raglan girls pick me up. They're like, quite a little bit hippie.
Yeah.
And so I jump in the back of the car. They're like, where are you going? I'm going to Highbrook Way. I don't know where that is. And I was like, oh, I'll tell you when to stop, because I kind of knew, like, looking at my phone where the maps was. Anyway, so I'm sitting in the back of this car. They've got their windows up. They're smoking cigarettes and stuff like that. I'm sitting there, like, dying. Like, oh.
With the V in his body.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I feel so sick. Anyway, I see Highbrook, and I see there's this huge...
That's like an entry.
Huge sign that says Highbrook. I was like, how did I miss that? I'm an idiot. Anyway, I get them to stop there. I jump off. I look at the number that I have to go to.
Oh, it's quite far to walk.
It's all the way at the top. So I run up there, I'm running up there. I get there, sweet, 6:30. So I'm half an hour late. I'm so nervous. I can hear people hitting the bag and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
Oh man, I walk in. And I see this guy. I'll give him a bit of description. Edwin Sammy. Edwin Sammy's a legend in combat sports in New Zealand. Really, really, like, a legend, a great in New Zealand. Anyway, I see him. He's the first person I see. And I was like, oh, I'm looking for Ethan. He's like, oh, he's not here tonight. But I'm running the class. And I was like, oh, man, I'm so late. And he's like, no, you're all good to jump in. I was like, oh, okay, So he's holding the pads for me. I'm freaking out at this point because, like, there's him. I know who he is.
You know who he is.
I know who he is. Alexi's over there hitting pads. I definitely know who he is. He's the only reason I came to House of Pain was because of him. Played Taranaki's over there, world champion. Carlos wasn't in the gym at this point, but there was a bunch of other young boys.
Was Jordan there?
Jordan wasn't there, but there's a bunch of other young boys around my age. Anyway, they're all training hard, and I'm hitting these pads, and like I'm kind of half-ass hitting these pads because I'm real nervous at this point. I'm like, shit, these dudes are like, this is the elite. These are the elite dudes. And anyway, I finished training, and now I've got to figure out a way home. Because I've just bussed out here. There's no bus back to Hamilton. And I was so lucky because Edwin came up to me and said, oh, how are you getting home? I was like, oh, I don't know. And he's like, oh, I'll give you a ride. So I jump in the car and he gives me a ride home. And he's like, oh, have I seen you before at the gym? And I was like, oh, no, this my first day. And he's like, oh, all good. I was like, yeah, I was supposed to talk about with Ethan whether I can actually train there or not. He's like, I don't see why you can't. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he drops me off home. He's like, sweet, see you tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, bro, yep. And I turn up tomorrow. Ethan's still not there. So he's off doing something else. And I think Edwin was taking class again. Yeah, and so it gets to like Wednesday or Thursday, and Ethan's finally there. And I roll
Here
on
it
up.
goes.
I just roll on, and everyone knows me at this, but like I'm sort of, I'm shaking hands with people and stuff like that. And Ethan sees me shaking people's hand, doing the generic House of Pain handshake, is the forearms and forearms.
Yeah, it's different to like a normal handshake.
Yeah. So I'm doing this handshake with everyone, and he sees me. He just stares at me, locks eyes with me. He's like, "Oh, I don't think you're in just yet." And then he's like, looking at me and stuff like that. He's like, "Oh, like I'm still on the fence. I don't know you, but like you can do the handshake or whatever." And then he's just like, "I expect you to be here. How many nights a week? You don't have to fight. Like if you don't want to, you come as often as you want, or don't come at all. Blah 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 blah." And then I just sort of blended in. Like I just sort of turned up, and he just sort of didn't give me any time. He just sort of ignored me. Yeah, and I just became a part of the furniture, really. I just kept turning up and kept turning up. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
that story busting out there, man, you must have been so nervous. Were you
Man, I
relieved?
was getting nervous talking about it. I was like, man, reliving
I'm
the
holding my
emotions.
breath here.
Yeah.
Were you
yeah.
relieved to find out he wasn't there?
Like,
He'll never know I was late.
equally relieved, but then I was scared because I was like, man, I'm going to turn up here and then he's going to tell me, nah, don't like you. And then, you know, I've been here like 3 times and then now all of a sudden I'm out.
I mean, look at the environment. You're 20 years old. Your mom set it all up for you. You know,
Yep.
you're there. You're taking a chance. You're nervous the whole way. You rock up. You see legend after legend after legend. I mean, maybe not at that point, but further down the line, you know, like Quaid has made it into, you know, like Glory Kickboxing. Carlos won this prestigious title. Alexi won it twice.
Yep.
You know, you look around and it's like, man, I'm doing like this is happening.
Yeah. The funny part is, so that night we came and we did pads and stuff like that, and then we did body conditioning, and everyone paired up for body conditioning, and then Alexi was the only guy that didn't have a partner. And like I said before, Alexi was the only reason I came to House of Pain, because he was my favourite fighter. Like I emulated my whole style off this guy. And so I was paired up with him for body conditioning. So I was starstruck as fuck. I was sitting there like, oh man, this is this is the guy. And I was hitting him to the body and stuff like that. And he said some cheeky comment, and I just didn't say anything back. I was just like, I'm not gonna say anything. You know, this guy's like the man. But yeah, it was just thrown in the deep end straight away. And the first sparring was hectic.
Sheesh, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have to like. I need a minute.
Oh man.
Because just to describe or like extend onto this how, sorry, I didn't quite explain. Jordan Forlong is another House of Pain family member, legend, so to say, who resides out in beautiful Whangaroa, Raglan. And I met him out there when I used to live out there and train at the refinery. And shout out to Johnny Rickard, who does it all for the community out there, you know, from
sure.
No matter what age you are, no matter ethnicity, it doesn't matter, you know, doors always open, come, you know my harmai, and just better yourself amongst the collective. So awesome work. However, he used to tell me, I remember I had a coffee catch up with him, and he told me the story of even after like being in, you had to bring, I think it was $5 a class. It's almost like a ticket. You couldn't do bank transfer. It was like, I'm here today.
Yep.
Here's my money. And that's already being in, you know, as like a accountability voucher, so to say. Call it whatever you want. And I was like, wow, that's a really tight operation. Just very well organized, keeping everyone on their toes, you know. And I was like, wow, that is awesome, you know. Like imagine what you learn from being in that environment, you know, that breeds excellency. But I'm going to take this further now, because in preparation of this, I kept telling you in the beginning also, is that I reached out to a few of your teammates, House of Core members, to just, you know, get a gauge on like certain topics and whatnot, to weave into the conversation today. And a reoccurring word, just like as a keyword that came up, is energy. And it's the energy that you bring to each individual session. If it's a sparring, if it's a back workout, if it's just coming in by yourself, sitting on the airline bike, or doing your strength and conditioning, no matter what you do, and everyone's kept saying the same thing to me, is like, it's fucking contagious. You can't get away from it. Like, he walks in, he's on time, he's got all his stuff prepared, he gets through the session, there is no half-assing whatsoever. And be assured, you know, like, I've observed it myself, you know, from all these years. Like, you go in, you do the mahi, you don't like fuck off, have conversations, this, that. Like, you are, everything is at 110%, you know, like devotion, dedication, the breathing, everything. Maybe that's a little bit of me talking, but that's what they all said to me, you know. And even if they're on the bag next to you and they're doing a different workout, or you join in, it's like, man, it's like there is like a level that you just, you have to meet. You cannot get away from it. And it's like rubbing off. It rubs off on the teammates, and it breeds like excellence of performance, so to say. Like hearing all of this, linking it back to, you know, being the machine, being relentless, and just like you keep going forward. How does that make you feel?
I try, to be honest, I try not to look too much into it. I try to just, you know, do the mahi, get the treats. I don't get many treats, but I just try to do the mahi. You know, I just try to turn up and just do my job, really. It was funny, after winning this King of the Ring, Ethan said to me, you know, Michael, like, you don't need to train, you know, because I was in my off time, but he's like, I'd like you to just turn up. And I was like, why? And he's like, because your energy, like, you lift these guys up a little bit. You know, you just walk in the ring, you just sit at the end of the ring, and everyone wants to try harder.
Because you were there.
Because I'm there. But it's funny because back in the day, Carlos, Alexi, Quaid, those were the guys, when they came in the room, I wanted to lift up. And it still is the same. You know, if Alexi turns up to sparring or turns up to a class,
he just walks in and everyone is like on notice.
Yep.
It's like, even if you're not in the class, you can just know. You know, it's like, it's a phenomenon that, absolutely irradiates into the group, into the collective, into the room. And I think it even translates from, let's say there's a stand-up class that he's part of. Like, I had sessions, you know, just doing jiu-jitsu, be like, man, you see, all right, let's get your shit together, you know, do it properly.
Yep.
Anywho, back to you.
So I try not to think on it too much, but I try, you know, I'm not much of a talker. I'm not a inspirational guy to inspire people with words. I think how I do it is I inspire people with action.
Yeah.
And I can see it too. Like, I'll be hitting the bag next to Heimweiner, and he starts hitting a little bit harder, and then I start hitting a little bit harder, and then he might say something cheeky and I'll say something back, you know? So it's, I try to do it by action. Is probably the best way to say it. I'm more of an action-based guy. Yeah.
It is. I'm laughing because Heimweiner was the person who, you know, was kind enough to share that example with me, you know, with elevating and then a little bit harder, a little bit longer, a little bit more this, a little bit more this, and next thing you know, you completed this session, you know, that actually made you get better to get to your goal or whatever it is, you know. And as we know, it's like, it's dominoes, it's like Lego pieces, blocks that you stack up to get to where you want to be. Not just with nothing, not just even fighting related. Even if you speak to all the individuals that we mentioned, like, look where they are in life, you know, very respectable. Like, there's lots of people that look up to them, me included, you know. And I spoke with Tim off camera. Like, it's just inspiring, you know, to be in the same environment. So therefore, that energy thing and being in the same presence, it makes so much sense. And I mean, he deserves all the credit, like Ethan, for just to make sure that that circle remains that particular way, so the people that are involved can benefit from it. And I mean, it just goes way further, you know, because people who see them then be like, whoa, you know, I really got to do up my game and try to be better. But is there any other, like, feelings, thoughts, emotions, like, just hearing this? That you, even though you're such and we all know you're a very humble person, you're soft-spoken, you do actions speak louder than words, but does it trigger anything inside of you? Like, does it make you feel proud, for example?
It definitely does make me feel proud. I think, just to be how, you know, I take it back to Quaid, Carlos and Alexi, how they were for me. You know, it's always, it's not a privilege, or it's, you know, it's more an honor to be that. It is, absolutely. To someone else, or to a group of someone else, you know, the rest of the gym, or even other people in the gym. Yeah, it's definitely, it's an honor, and it is a privilege, you know. It's something that I can't take for granted, you know. I kind of, I looked at it in a light where after winning this, I had a lot of kids message me. Kids were messaging me, you know, like, oh, you inspire me so much. These are young fighters. And it kind of made me think, you know, I've got to not set the right example or blah, 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 blah. I've got to be, you know, I've got to think of them as well and think, you know, like, I guess, set the right example for them, be a bit of a role model and show them. Yeah, they're watching you. Yeah. They're watching what you do. Monkey see, monkey do. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I guess now it's more eyeballs on you. Even walking into the gym is like, oh, what's Michael Isaac doing? Which is not. It's. I don't think it's facing you. You just. It's the same. Like you walk in with the same bag till this day. Like walk in, you do your what you need to do.
I walk in with a pack and save bag. A pack and save bag with some gloves in it.
That just shows you keep it simple and you get it done. It doesn't need to be fancy equipment. I mean, we can add on to this by. You've got a sports psychologist that you're working with. You have a strength and conditioning coach that you've been working with for years, and all these like sessions, let's call them invisible sessions that no one sees, in this like 10-year fight camp because you started training when you were 16. You got this prestigious title at 26. That's like 10 years of being so consistent, with the energy and just taking it to that place. And then maybe that's why that's what enabled you in that moment to get the notch, over your opponent in the final. Who knows?
Maybe.
We might cut to this in a minute. However, what I would like to talk about is the flip side of it, because the amazing person that you are, still remaining so humble, walking in with your, little bag and whatnot, is that that you might miss out on maybe sponsorship, maybe some other opportunities that are related to financial resources, just generating something for yourself. Is there anything that comes to mind with that? Because that was also something that your teammates said about you. You're so humble despite everything that you've accomplished, And I mean, the King in the Ring title is like, let's say that's the pinnacle, but 3-time national champion as far as it comes to like fight this and that. You've done so much, yet you remain so humble. I mean, it is probably because of Ōpōtiki way from your parents, under the guidance of Ethan Shepp and all these amazing people that are involved in this like extremely tight operation. Alexi, Carlos Hicks, the list goes on. But how do you feel about that, for example? Do you think you're missing out on things in life?
Potentially, yeah. Funny thing is, I have one sponsor actually on board. He's my barber. So I never used to tell anyone that I fought. I'd be at the barber. I wouldn't say a word. They'd be talking about UFC fights, blah blah blah. I never mentioned that I fought. I just sat there in complete silence.
Yeah.
And he was cutting my hair, and he was lining up my sort of, chopping the top, and he saw a scar. I have a scar up there from an opponent, from an elbow, and he was like, "Oh, what's that from?" And I was like, "Oh, it's from an elbow." And he's like, "Oh, a fight?" And I was like, "Yeah, I fight." He's like, "Do you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a professional fighter." And he's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "What?" And then he's like, "What's your Instagram?" And then he's like, yeah, type it in on my phone. He keeps cutting my hair, and I type it in, and he goes, "Is this you?" And like sees this photo of me in all these belts. I was like, yeah, that's me. And he's like, "Oh my god, like what the hell?" And then so he followed me. He didn't sponsor me after that, but he saw I was on King of the Ring.
Yeah. He
wanted to sponsor me straight away. So shout out to Clean Cut Barbers. They give me free haircuts, which is awesome. But so I didn't actually start telling people I fought until around then. I was kind of like, man, I should actually start being a little bit more vocal, because I just used to turn up and just don't say anything. I don't need to tell people I fight. I don't need, even at work, like I never talk about it. I never talk about, I had this sparring with this dude or blah, 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 blah. I just stay completely quiet about it. Yeah. But now I'm being a little bit more vocal. It is paying off. There's been no downside to being a little bit more vocal about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that has been a struggle. It's a gift and a curse. I think being humble is, obviously people don't know. And then again, I don't really want people to see me in that light, to see me as some, like, put me on a pedestal or anything. I just want to be a normal guy. But, I do have to take some advantages for myself, like the free haircuts. Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, by any means, you deserve those free haircuts.
Oh man, it's awesome. I haven't been there in so long, but I remain loyal to him. I don't go to any other barber. I won't get my haircut anywhere else. Since he sponsored me, I was like, nah, I'll just stay with him.
Listen, Micah, I think, and I hope, me as a person, you know, my subjective opinion sitting here, that more things will come your way because you simply deserve it. You know, if someone puts in so much work towards something, you know, and remains of good character, it's never really getting to you. I think you deserve it, you know. But like you said, it's maybe a bit of a blessing, maybe a bit of a curse.
Yep.
But you seem very aware of the situation and what you display for the next generation, for example, which I feel is very admirable. So yeah, just keep doing you because you inspire a lot of people. That rolls over into actually another big word that we talked about a wee while ago, which is validation. You know, seeking validation of another person, of like something that is external. Let me elaborate. So just a quick description before we start. Like, can you talk about King in the Ring, about the format quickly for the people who don't know, and what this claiming this title actually means?
So King of the Ring, essentially you fight 3 times in one night. Whether so the winner and the loser actually fight 3 times in one night. Basically, it is 8 of the best, whatever weight division it is in New Zealand, and they all just battle it out. There's Pool A, Pool B. So Pool A is generally the top seeds of the 8, and Pool B is the more lesser known of the 8. So Pool B draw a name out of the hat, and they draw a name out of the Pool A section. And yeah, basically you battle it out. If you win one, you go through to the quarterfinal. If you win that, you go through to the final. And then the 2 top of the 8 battle it out for the strap.
Yeah. So in your interviews, like leading up to it, I just wanted to gain some clarity. You said, and I quote you, "This is not about the money and this is not about the fame. I want my plug on that belt next to Israel Adesanya, Daniel Hooker, Carlos Hicks, the list goes on."
Yep.
You did say that. So, but we're cutting to now. You achieved this, like, what a goal. It took 10 years to get there. And I mean, again, I think I just take this moment and like speak on behalf of all the people at Core Mixed Martial Arts, for example, to say that we're proud of you, you know, like this is amazing. It lifts up the spirit and the place, not just for the competitive fighters as far as it comes to kickboxing and Muay Thai, you know, that goes through all the people who just want to be maybe an amateur fight or have like a one-off experience. Like, you know, Tim went through this like Train Alta program, who he was able to like life-changing experience, you know, to just fight as an amateur. But it also radiates all the way down, like you said, to the young kids. It's like, this is Michael Isaac, you know, like, and they want to, even if they're not getting to a professional level, you know, but
Theo knows your name. He'd be like,
his son knows you.
Dad, that's Michael Isaac. I seen him on the TV.
Yep.
I'm like,
shit.
what? That's crazy. I'd have never introduced him to you. To you or anything.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so where I'm going with this is, we're proud of you, and I just wanted to say congratulations on behalf of, you know,
Thank you.
can't speak for House of Pain, but you know, the core mixed martial arts whānau, and I think the wider community in the Waikato is very lucky to have you and like amongst the people, you know, to like uplift and you know, bring your energy to the table. And you then got a paycheck too, which is not hurting, you know. You're not a money guy, I know this for a fact.
Made the savings look quite
yeah, you got 10,000 New Zealand dollars, is that correct?
Yep, you do have to pay tax, just saying, but yeah, you do have to pay tax, but I made sure to do all that, and it made the savings look very, very healthy, so I was quite happy about that.
Yeah, but how much of that money did you leave at the local bakery for?
I haven't actually. My promise, I haven't actually spent a cent of it.
Gosh.
Yeah, I've saved every dollar of the King of the Ring money.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only been my other money I've spent at the local bakery.
Because I know Kiwi, you do enjoy pie.
Yeah, I love a pie. I love a quiche. Quiche is really, yeah.
This is awesome.
I love a quiche.
Anywho, I need to build this up. So, validation, you say it's not about the money. I mean, that alone, just, you know, like it couldn't be a more fitting example, you know, like you maybe spend a little bit on the pie, you put it all in the savings, you know, whatever you're going to do with it. But validation is, and I picked an example that you can relate to more so than probably anyone else. How about, let's say, the mecca of fighting, or what people affiliate with the pinnacle of martial arts, so to say, would be Madison Square Garden, for example. You know, it's the history. I don't want to go into it, but if you're a fighting fan or not, you heard about it. Oh, Madison Square Garden. Oh yeah, maybe Tyson fought there, or this happened there, or McGregor became. Was that MSG when McGregor became? I think so. Became double champ, first ever active double champ. However, but if I then say Lumpini Stadium in Bangkok, Thailand, your eyes lit up, because for you as a martial artist, that means, so let's say MSG would be the money side of things, because that's when you make it, but there's so many world-class athletes in Muay Thai or in stand-up fighting that, you know, if you're ranked at the Lumpini Stadium, that's like
the top echelon.
Everyone is like bowing, but you need to know. So would you pick Lumpini over MSG any day of the week? I'm assuming so.
I think I wouldn't be too sure. It depends. It depends on the offer. Depends on the offer. These days, maybe if you asked a few years ago, I would say Lumpini any day of the week. But I think these days, you know, if Madison Square Garden's offering a little bit better of an opportunity, then I think it just depends on the opportunity.
It's fair to say, of course, but Lumpini Stadium, you know, as far as it comes to Muay Thai and like stand-up fighting, this is, I mean, just fighting there is prestige that you can have on your resume for the rest of your days, let alone, you know, being ranked or achieving something. But yeah, it was more so the statement of validation, like external and internal, you know, like, because you're not doing it for the money and the fame. You know, it's not hurting to have a bit more in your bank, you know, everyone would probably be happy about it. But those statements that you released prior, and it could be so true, even afterwards, you know, in that interview, like I wanted to be the plug on my name on this. And now it's sitting here, like, just looking at it, like what does it, like, internally, you think you validate it for yourself, or you feel like, what does it do?
The funny thing is, and I described it before we went live, it's kind of like a metaphor, you know, like I got the belt and it was cool. My mum was holding the belt for quite a while, actually. My mum was, you know, looking after it, and then I was like, I'll take it home. And I took it home, and I remember like taking it out of my car and just looking at it in my room, just thinking, you know, like it was funny, I didn't need this belt. Like, I thought I needed this belt as validation, but I was looking at it and I just thought I didn't need a belt as validation. Really what it was the belt symbolized that tick in my head of, you know, you are as good as you think you are, you know. And when I said I wanted my name next to all the guys, I said there was a plaque. There's actually an old King of the Ring post they did. It's a black and white post, and it has all the faces.
Yes,
but
seen it.
I remember during the camp, the visualization was like, man, if I could just have, it would be so cool to just see Alexi, Carlos, and my face there, you know. It would be, and obviously there's a few other friends on that list. Nikoroli Kingi, he's on there. And I remember when we trained in Bali.
4 times he won it now?
3 times he's won it. We trained in Bali. I'd watch him train, and I'd think, I can't wait to like have my name next to that, you know. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it was pretty genuine.
Would you agree if I say it's great to have it externally, you know, like with the MSG example and whatnot, but you don't need it? It's the same with the belt. You don't need it. You know who you are and what you've done.
I think you do need it as as sort of belief. I think it's belief, because even before something like that, you don't truly believe it. Like Carlos, Alexi, Ethan, Quaid, they all saw it. They all saw it before I could see it. But until that night, I didn't see it until then.
So like seeing is believing, like that's irrefutable evidence.
That's belief. Yeah, that's belief right there. But yeah, I didn't see it until then. Yeah.
There it is. Like, you reach the top of the mountain, and then of course, you know, I put out my feelers to like different people and like audience online to be like, well, like you can ask Micah some questions like, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? To be honest with you, like, as you can probably imagine, it was like, what is next? Like, what do you, in Australasia, even like internationally, you have a standing with this, you know? Like, where do you go from here? So a few things that been thrown around is, of course, do you want to do like Thai mod fights, you know, like modified Thai rules with you fight in a cage, maybe, for example, with like MMA gloves, 4-ounce gloves. So, you know, something different. A little bit the same, you know, like, however, maybe that gets you excited. Another one, of course, and that's the big question for everyone who ever accomplished something these days in stand-up is, with a certain age, would you be willing to transition to mixed martial arts, you know, learn about the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, whatever else is it? Or are you staying in your lane and focusing on, like, so to say, maybe the Thailand and maybe China route and gun for a world title in what you're good at already? So just throwing those three things at you and see what you have to say as like a forecast on where from here.
Currently at the moment it's gunning for a world title, I think, is I've been asked about MMA and I respect MMA as its own sport. Actually, I think a lot of people, and I speak with quite a lot of guys. I use the sauna quite a lot at core, and I speak with a lot of guys that
best conversations.
Oh man, they're all asking about MMA. Is it MMA next? Is it the UFC next? And I always say, I respect MMA as its own sport, just like boxing. Like, it's, if I'm good at kickboxing or Muay Thai, does not necessarily mean I'm going to be a good boxer or MMA fighter.
Right.
And they say, oh, but Izzy is. And I go, Izzy is a very special human.
Yes,
like,
he is.
He's a very special human. Like, not everyone is like that. Yeah, I think with MMA, I'm on the fence. I'm not too sure. If I did go the mixed martial arts route, it would be more money orientated. But currently at the moment, it's gunning for a world title in Muay Thai or kickboxing. Yeah, and then to be fair, I'm really not too sure what's next after that. Yeah, this is a conversation I had with Ethan literally straight after winning this in the car. We were talking about what's next, and he said, Michael, you could probably retire right now and
be happy. Don't have to do a thing.
Yeah, but
agree.
I can't stay away from the game. I like fighting. I like training. I like being involved with it. I like everything about it. It changes. Yeah, it's changed my life. It gives me a lot of purpose, and yeah, there's nothing better than rolling up to training and hitting the pads really hard with Ethan and thinking I'm gonna die in this session, and then making it through, or even in turning up to sparring, and yesterday was awesome. Like, I was sparring Heimweiner, I was kicking him, we were talking shit to each other, and it was just the best rounds ever. It was awesome, and I would leave there going, fuck, that was great. That's the best high you can get for me.
Camaraderie is huge.
For sure.
Absolutely. And just to highlight this, you did tell me that you would be late today for the recording because one of your teammates from House of Pain, Dion Hokage Wilson, is fighting for another, prestigious spot to actually go to Thailand eventually, hopefully, and fight for world title. So hopefully that's gonna work out. But you messaged me being like, hey, I need to go help him.
Yeah.
I need to be there, give him, even if it's just around, for your energy, be present. So I was like, man, that's just telling you a lot about this person, So, but yeah, we, of course, wishing our own well, and it's gonna go great for Dion too, because man, this kid has a lot of heart, creativity and whatnot. Anywho, so world title it is then.
Yeah, that's on the cards. That's the next goal to tick off. Yeah,
I reckon it's a good decision from what I've observed and seen, because the mod or whatever, the modified rules and this and that, that's super interesting. It's extremely entertaining. But if you want to take this really far, specialize even further and just make sure you're sharpening everything and just evolve. And I mean, you've got the best people around you. It's proven over and over again. So it's pretty much a no-brainer. Would you consider, having Ethan and this like particular group around you is awesome, but to go to like Thailand long term or just for training camp, or China was like for a lot of New Zealand fighters for a long period was a good route, you know, to build up experience and like go further.
For sure, Thailand's definitely on the cards. Actually, after the King of the Ring, I reached out to an old opponent of mine. Actually, he's living in Thailand, Lucas McAdam. He's probably, I would say, New Zealand's best lightweight at this current time. So we're in 2 different weight divisions now. But I messaged him saying, I'm going to put this money towards a Thailand trip. And he was like, oh, sweet, you know, let me know when it's coming to fruition. So definitely, I think a Thailand trip's on the cards, either early next year or maybe potentially end of the year. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, but I'd just like to get out there and just see how good I am and level up, and yeah, for sure.
I mean, good environment to be in, because there's lots of different people coming together from all over the globe, you know, not just professional growth, like personally as well. You most likely connect with a lot of good humans. All right, that was the forecast. Michael, I've been pesting you with a lot of questions. Hope it wasn't too much.
No, it's sweet as.
But it's at the point now where it's it's choice. You have 2 options. You can either spit back a question towards me or us, you know, something, you know, I just give you the opportunity to ask something. Or we can cover something that we may have forgotten about to cover, or that you would like to mention, or that you would like to dive deeper into, just to make sure, you know, we cover all grounds before we pull the curtain here. So it's entirely up to you.
I don't mind. I don't mind you guys asking any more questions to me.
No, it's vice versa.
Oh, no, I've got no questions to ask you guys. Yeah, I think I know enough, potentially. No, I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind answering a few more. Like anything you guys have.
How about you, Tim?
Do I have any questions?
I've got one, but it's a silly one.
You go.
Yeah?
I think I've got one.
Okay. Shame on me, because I probably should know, but I've been to Thailand myself, was fortunate to train, and you know, I know a little bit about like certain you know, like let's say etiquette and like rules and this and that, you know, but you never stop learning. Where does it actually come from in Muay Thai that you roll up your shorts?
Oh man, I don't know. I do not know. I only started doing it because I saw these Thai guys do it. And now it's habit. Now I can't, like, it's in my head. I can't kick harder unless I roll my shorts right up till you can see my ball sack. Like, till it looks like I'm packing. Like, I've got to roll my shorts up and just look like I'm the man.
Man, we need to find someone who can answer that question, like, with confidence. Because what I feel like it is because the humidity in Thailand, the heat is like insane. You walk to training, you're already dehydrated and exhausted.
Yeah.
So I think, have you seen like a lot of soccer players doing it as well? They roll up their shorts now for practice. I think it's just to cool down the muscle. And like make sure, just make sure your muscles get enough like breathing room and like cooling them down in between like kicks. Potentially.
I think it's because I've trained quite a few times in Thailand. Either in the Thais, some of them are training real hard, some of them are lazy as shit. I think they do it just to sort of like give themselves a bit of breathing time. So I'd be sparring with these Thai guys, and you'd be kicking them, and sometimes, you know, like they pretend to fix their shin pad. And they'll sort of look outside and be like, man, I don't really want to be here, and then they sort of start sparring again. Or they'll fix their shorts and roll them up a bit. I've got to do my shorts, but they're really tired. And they're sitting there like, and they're still rolling their shorts up and stuff like that. So I think it's something like that. They do it just to sort of kill time, potentially.
Interesting, yeah.
But,
what's the difference between that and like adjusting your shin gear? No difference.
Not too much of a difference. I mean, shin gear, you can kind of... You get less time, I guess, because it takes a little bit less time.
But with the rolling, you got to put your gloves underneath, especially with the bigger ones, Yeah, that makes sense. I never thought about that.
That makes sense. And then maybe it's just transcended down to be a bit of like a trend.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trend.
A fashion trend in that space.
Yep.
We had that in the army. Like, I have no idea why, but it was only something I've seen there. you have to wear a hat at all times when you're outside, basically.
Yeah.
And there's these things we wear called J hats, just to break up the shape of your head.
Yeah.
And they would always like wear them really short brims, so they didn't do any sunshade. And then they would always hike the back up, so it was like barely even sitting on their head. And some guys would even stick it up real high. And it was each unit had their own way of wearing their hat, or how you do your bear up. There was these little things of freedom that they got to do to make them stand out, or some sense of identity.
Okay.
And I think maybe some people look to that, they go into that space like, oh, who am I? Ah, yeah, I want to be like that guy. Yeah, he rolls his short stuff. He wears his hat like that. Yeah. I identify like that.
Yeah, it could be another one.
Potentially.
Who knows?
People are strange with like how they do things. Yeah.
Just to maybe be unique. Who knows?
Potentially.
Ask ChatGPT.
Nah. That's a question. That's a cultural question that
There's no
you
way.
need to go to the source, and I will figure this out by the end of the year. I will have some answers. So no questions for me or for him.
No questions.
No questions.
I don't really know what to ask you guys, but
I've got a question.
There you go.
At what point did you know you wanted to do King of the Ring?
Well, the first time I actually watched King of the Ring,
Telly.
I was I was home alone that night. My mum had gone to Auckland or something with her partner, so I had the house to myself, and I was sitting there flicking through Sky Sports, and King of the Ring came on. It happened to be so the first King of the Ring I ever watched was actually when Alexi won it. That started that trilogy as to how I got into the House of Pain. But yeah, I flicked on the TV and it was King of the Ring and 6'2" lightweights. And I watched the whole thing and I was just sitting there like, wow, like this is the best shit ever. This is so amazing. These guys are like superheroes. The annoying thing was the gym I was currently training at the time, I went in and was like, did anyone watch King of the Ring? And no one watched it. And I was just like, what? Like, this is the best shit ever. Like, fuck, these guys fought 3 times in one night. Like, man, I'd had like 2 shin padded fights. And I was sitting there like, man, I thought that was hard. And these guys are doing like
No shin pads.
No shin pad fights 3 times in a night. Like, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
I didn't know if I wanted to do it then, but I was just sitting there like, wow, like that was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Yeah. And I just looked at like every guy. So I've watched pretty much every King of the Ring since. And I know everyone in New Zealand, if I walk into a room, into a changing room and see like a fighter, I'll know if they've fought on King of the Ring or not. Like I'll know straight away. Yeah.
How?
Went for
Just
all
because
of
I've seen them. I've
Watched
seen them.
them.
All. Yeah, I've seen
Right.
them.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
I've watched them or something like that. Yeah, a bit of a nerd like that, but
3 times in a night. But it's only impossible if you until someone does it, eh?
Yeah.
And actually whatever wins it.
yeah.
If it's like going up a mountain or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, it's that belief. It's that training in the same gym as guys who have done this sometimes multiple times, you know? It's sort of just like, well, if that human who's the same kind of human being as me can do that,
Yeah.
then I can get through this session.
Absolutely.
You know?
For sure. It's definitely a I remember I was training with Ethan one morning and then I was dying on the pads or whatever. I was really tired or some shit like that, and then he just said to me, that's why it's so special to win, Michael. It's because, you know, you've just done this, but you gotta do it again. And then you gotta do it again. And it's like, man, like I was kind of just like, shit. Yeah. But it was good motivation at the time. I was kind of like, shit, I gotta up my game. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, Tim, thank you to you.
You're welcome.
Adapt Media for media inquiries. Instagram. Facebook?
Mainly Instagram. I do actually have a Facebook,
Yeah.
and a lot of people hit me up on there or go and check it out, but I just don't spend my time on there. So if you
That's
want
right.
to see recent work, go to Instagram.
Go to Instagram, flick him a message, hit him up. Anything goes, you know, no restrictions. Whatever work you need to get done, he's your guy. So thank you, my friend, for another beautiful episode. But yeah, I've got nothing left to say. We covered a lot of ground. I give the curtains to you, Mikey. Any shout outs, any sponsors, any family members, if you want to call our future opponents, or mention any bakeries that you want to try their pies, please feel free. You've got the last words before we close it off.
I'd just like to probably a big shout out to my coaches, I should say, Ethan Shepp and Alexis Serapisos. My teammates, all at House Pain, my teammates at Core MMA. My sponsor, my one sponsor, Clean Cut Barbers. And that's about it. Probably my mum. And a good bakery that you should go to is if you go to Kiki, there's this bakery that does Nutella cronuts. Bro.
What's the name called?
I don't actually know the name. It's just like Kiki Bakery, I think. But I go there, so I work at the prison sometimes. I go there every time I work at the prison that I'm out of fight camp. Yeah, I stop at this bakery, get a Nutella cronut. Yeah, man.
Cronut has like 2,000 calories or
Oh,
something?
shit, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah. Crazy.
I need to get some of that.
Yeah.
It's alright. You gotta live a little later.
Bulking.
Alright, anything else?
Nah, that's everything. That's everything.
Mate, thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right? Cut.